What is up, fight fans? DJC Combat here, and in 2 weeks' time goes down one of the biggest pay-per-views of the first quarter of 2023, UFC 285, where we witness one of the biggest returns in MMA history. The GOAT is back. The King is back. Bones is back. John Bones Jones, and he debuts in the heavyweight division against Ciryl Gane. That's going to be a tough challenge. Interesting matchup. But then we got Grasso getting her first title shot at the Bullet. Valentina Shevchenko, Jones and Shevchenko on the same card. Two of the GOATs of, the sport, WMMA. Valentina is one of the GOATs behind Nunes. And then John is one of the greatest of all time, if not the greatest of all time, in men's MMA. But then we also got some prospects on this card. Some undefeated fighters, some up-and-coming talent on this pay-per-view. Neal versus Shavkat. We got Matuesz Gamrot versus Jailin Turner. And it was originally going to be Dan Hooker versus Turner, but we got this one instead. And to open up the main card, we got Nickal making his debut in the UFC, not in the prelims, but on pay-per-view on the main card. And I'm going to get started with that matchup, Nickal versus Jamie Pickett. Now, the UFC, they know what they're doing here by matching up Nickal against Jamie Pickett. Jamie Pickett, 8 losses. Not known for being a well-rounded fighter. His style is mainly based around his striking. He's dangerous on the feet, but I feel that's all he's really going to have to offer. Now, of course, if he can keep the fight on the feet and work his striking, then he can beat Nickal. But that's going to be a lot to ask for because of Nickal's imposing wrestling style. That's what he's known for. That's what he's good at, is that wrestling, being able to get a hold of you, take you down. There's not much you can do about it. He'll just take you down and maul you. Nickal is like one of the most overhyped yet inexperienced fighters on the roster. I don't want to say overhyped because we don't know how good he is. He could be as good as everyone says he is, but he's like 3-0, only 3 fights professionally. But luckily, he's not fighting someone ranked or complete. So I'd say Nickal is able to get the job done against Jamie Pickett. I do think in the first round he's going to get a takedown, and I think he's going to immediately get in a dominant position and either win by rear naked choke or ground and pound from the mount. But I see a first round finish for the future star in Nickal. Well, I don't know for sure if he's a future star. Like, he could be derailed in the next year or so, perhaps. But he should be able to win this one at least. So I'm going to say Nickal, the betting favorite, gets it done to kick off the pay-per-view. Moving up the card, we got Jailin Turner versus Matuesz Gamrot. Like I said, originally Jailin was supposed to fight Hooker, in which I do think Turner was going to win against Dan. But Gamrot is a whole nother beast. Now, Jailin Turner has been on quite the run in the lightweight division, 4-0 and 3 finishes, being at that, and 3 submissions as well. Jailin Turner has turned the page. He had a rough career at welterweight, smooth career at lightweight, but I believe this is where his undefeated run comes to an end because he's fighting Matuesz Gamrot. Now, Jailin in the lightweight division has a lot of physical advantages over a lot of his opponents, in which it's kind of helped him beat a lot of his opponents, right? And you'll have those advantages over Gamrot, being that he's like 6'3". He's the bigger guy. He's long, right? But in terms of the style, he's not going to have the advantage over Matuesz Gamrot. Gamrot is the better wrestler than Jailin Turner, and he's got a better ground game than Jailin Turner. Jailin's only advantage is to stand up. He has to be able to stay long and keep it on the feet. But can he do that against someone like Matuesz? I doubt it. Before Matuesz lost to Neal, he was on quite the run. His record was 22-1, and his first loss was a split decision. He arguably could have been undefeated going into that Dariush fight. Dariush could be his only loss right now, but Turner, he ain't no Beneil Dariush. He's not as good as Beneil Dariush. He's not as good on the ground as Beneil Dariush. Definitely not even better on the feet than Dariush. Doesn't have the skills of Dariush. I think Turner might be biting off a bit more than he can chew here, but if he does get it done against Gamrot, I'll be impressed. But I just think the wrestling and the pace of Matuesz Gamrot is going to be a bit much. I mean, Gamrot beat Arman Tsarukyan over 5 rounds. This dude is an absolute machine. He pushes in an insane pace that I'm not sure Turner's going to be able to keep up with. I can't see him defending takedowns or finding subs off his back or getting his own takedowns. Terrible matchup for Turner. I say Gamrot wins either a dominant decision or maybe he submits Jailin Turner. All right, now moving up the card here in the welterweight division, Geoff Neal versus Shavkat Rakhmanov. This one was delayed a couple of months, but here we are now. It's going to happen in March. Geoff Neal just now finding consistency in his UFC career. He started with a good undefeated run in the UFC till he ran into Wonderboy, but he lost that, and he lost to Magny. But now he's back, 2 wins in a row over Ponzinibbio and amazing win, knockout win over Luque, the first and only man to knock out Vicente Luque. Neal is an absolute beast, and he finally cracked the top 6, top 5 in the division. But he's going backwards against such a dangerous style matchup, an absolute demon in Shavkat Rakhmanov. And I think Shavkat Rakhmanov, he does everything Geoff Neal does so well, but better. Geoff Neal is a tremendous boxer with speed, great footwork, and power. But Rakhmanov is an even better boxer than Geoff Neal with even better footwork. I think his kicks are better than Geoff Neal. His counters are better than Geoff Neal. He manages distance better than Geoff Neal. And he has a wrestling advantage over Geoff Neal. Now, Neal does have good takedown defense, so he might not be the easiest guy in the world for Rakhmanov to take down, but that does give Geoff Neal something to worry about in this fight. Rakhmanov, if need be, he can lean on that wrestling. He has that takedown threat, but I also think he is the better striker. He's longer than Geoff Neal, so he's going to have that range advantage over Geoff Neal. I don't think it'll be an easy fight. Neal is a tough guy to deal with, and he is dangerous for Rakhmanov. He does have that power, and if he can't connect on Rakhmanov, who has been dropped before, we could definitely be seeing an upset. And when Neal does have you hurt, it's not like just one shot. It's like his combinations that make him dangerous along with his power. He puts together combinations very well, and he knows how to get the finish. He's like sort of a Dustin Poirier kind of finisher in the welterweight division. Something for Rakhmanov to look out for, but I'm not sure if he's going to be able to connect clean on Rakhmanov. I see Rakhmanov beating him to the punch in every exchange, but being able to pull back, stay safe of the power of Geoff Neal. If Neal does get too close or too close enough to land, Rakhmanov can then maybe get a hold of Neal, get him in the clinch, hold him against the cage, stall him out, not give Neal enough space to land his big shots. He can make himself too close for Neal to hit or too far out of range. So I'm going to say Shavkat Rakhmanov wins this fight. I think he picks Geoff Neal apart. He wins a majority of the stand-up and also out-wrestles Geoff Neal here and there to pick up a unanimous decision win. I do think Neal will have some moments in this matchup, but I think they'll be too far in between. And I think Rakhmanov is the all-around better fighter and sort of the new star moving forward in the welterweight division. And I see him cracking that top 5 with a win over Neal. I just see him as that sort of future contender, title challenger at welterweight. Geoff Neal, not so much, but I've been wrong about Neal before. He can prove me wrong again. All right, moving up the card now, the first title fight of the evening, the Women's Flyweight Championship of the World. Valentina, the Bullet Shevchenko, looking to put her title on the line for the 8th time against a fresh contender who's never fought for the belt before, Alexa Grasso. This is her first shot at gold against such a dangerous world champion, a dangerous challenge for Alexa Grasso. She's got an uphill battle to climb against someone who's been dominant, who's been the champion of this division for 4.5 years, who has the record for most title defenses in WMA history, 9-0 in women's flyweight. That's no easy feat. However, I do believe that Alexa Grasso is the one to get it done against Valentina Shevchenko. She brings a lot of things to the table that I believe will pose some new and unique and interesting challenges to Valentina Shevchenko. Alexa Grasso has the speed, of a former strawweight. I think she's faster than anyone Valentina's ever fought before. She's got better boxing than anyone Valentina's ever fought before. And honestly, I think she's got better boxing than Valentina Shevchenko, which, yes, that is going to be a shocker for some people. Like, punch for punch, that's where Alexa's going to hold the advantage. Now, all around, Val has more tools to work with against Grasso, which that definitely is her advantage. Valentina definitely is going to want to keep this a kickboxing match at a range. She doesn't want to let Alexa Grasso get close. But I believe Alexa will have the speed to get on the inside and tag Valentina Shevchenko like no other has. I don't think she's faster than Val, but I think she's fast enough to keep up with Shevchenko in the striking. And I believe because Grasso has nothing to lose here, I think she's going to fight like someone who has nothing to lose. That's what's going to make her dangerous going up against Val. And I also believe that she's not going to be afraid of Valentina. And Talia Santos made Valentina look very human last time out. And I think Grasso saw that. I think that's going to raise her confidence. But Alexa Grasso is ever evolving as an all-around mixed martial artist. Like, her boxing is not her only means of winning this fight. Even though Valentina is a complete fighter, and Valentina may be better in other areas that Grasso is developing at, I think people are going to be surprised by how well Grasso is able to handle herself if they do hit the mat. Alexa Grasso is deceptively strong. She's got good clinch strength. And if Valentina does get a hold of her, I just can't see her bullying Alexa Grasso in the clinch. I can see Grasso getting some control time against the cage against Valentina. I think Valentina is going to struggle with the takedown defense against Alexa Grasso. And if she gets Grasso down, Grasso is good off her back. Her jiu-jitsu is good. She has a submission threat. And I don't see her being done on the ground like other past Shevchenko victims have been done like that. I don't see her getting mauled on the ground. And I think Grasso will be able to get back to her feet if she does get taken down. And the majority of this fight is going to come down to the striking. And I think that Valentina, in a way, is kind of regressing. As shown in her last fight against Talia Santos, before she finished Murphy, Valentina wasn't looking too hot in that fight. And Grasso is entering her prime. She is progressing every time we see her. And this being her first fight for the belt, I think we're going to see the best Grasso we've ever seen in years. We're going to see the best performance out of Alexa, whereas with Valentina, I don't think Valentina is going to look at her best in this fight, simply due to the fact that Shevchenko isn't really evolving in her style, whereas we're seeing a lot of evolution out of Alexa. She always comes back and shows us something new, brings something new to the table each time out. And I just think that Alexa is going to come in super prepared for whatever Shevchenko is going to bring to the table, having studied her style for years, ever since she, entered the women's flyweight division. I just believe in this matchup, we're going to see Valentina get hit a lot more than she's used to. She's going to take a lot more damage than what we're used to seeing. And I think Alexa Grasso will probably pull through with a decision in this fight against Valentina Shevchenko. I believe we're due for a title fight upset this year. We haven't had one yet. I believe Alexa will be the first of many, and I see Grasso shocking the world here against the Bullet, Valentina Shevchenko, and new. She makes history and becomes the first female Mexican-born champion in the UFC. Mark my words, you heard it here first. All right, now it's time to get into the main event of the evening, the heavyweight championship of the world. Jon Bones Jones versus Ciryl Gane. Jon Jones has not been in action for like the last 3 years. It's been a minute since we've seen Bones. And in his last couple of performances, he hasn't looked the greatest. And, in these 3 years, Bones has been out. Ciryl Gane has been taking out top contender after top contender in the heavyweight division. In the mix, he was able to win an interim title, got a shot at the formerly undisputed champion Ngannou. Didn't win, but gave him all he could handle, bounced back and wrecked Tai Tuivasa. Now he gets his second chance at heavyweight gold against the GOAT, Jon Jones. And I believe within that year, within that time that, he did lose to Ngannou, I do believe that Ciryl Gane will be far improved from that loss to Francis Ngannou, which will make him 10 times more dangerous. Ciryl Gane has activity on his side, and he's hungry, to get that title on his second chance. Make no mistake about it, Bones is not lacking in motivation because this is a new challenge, a new division. He's challenging himself. He's no longer that guy who's just defending the belt he's held for so long. He's chasing a new belt in a new division, which does make this fight very interesting. And maybe this time off has been good for Jon Jones to reset his career, to reevaluate. Maybe we'll see a refreshed Jon Jones, in his new heavyweight physique, in his new form. But I don't know, man. I could easily see Ciryl Gane going out there, beating Bones and being that new star moving forward, just because he's got youth on his side. He's been in it, more recently than Jon Jones. It would not surprise me if Bones loses this fight, if his time is done. But there's one problem. It's Jon Jones. You can't take him out. He is different. He is not the same. You are you, and he is him. Jon Bones Jones is that guy. And that's what makes it hard to bet against Jon Bones Jones. Regardless of all these factors playing against him, that could lead to him losing the fight. I gotta pick that brother, Johnny Bones, once again. It's gonna take for Jon Jones to lose for me to actually go against him. But right now, it's hard to tell how Jon is gonna look. We could see the best Bones we've ever seen in years. And Jon Jones, he's got the experience edge over Ciryl Gane, and he's got a lot more tools to work with, even though Gane is a better striker than Jon Jones and the best striker in the heavyweight division thus far, the most technical striker. Ciryl Gane, he's like that new wave sort of super heavyweight. He's big, but he's athletic, he's fast, and he's going to be a tough fight for Jon Jones. But Jon just has more ways he can win this fight. Jon has the advantage with his wrestling. And even though I think Gane is going to be improved with his wrestling from the Ngannou fight, Jon Jones is a better wrestler than Francis Ngannou. And I think in this new heavyweight form, Jon is going to be a lot physically stronger, which is going to make his wrestling a lot harder to fend off. Jon Bones Jones has better cardio than Ciryl Gane. He's better in the late rounds than Ciryl Gane. Jon Bones Jones pushes a harder pace, and he just knows how to win when the going gets tough. Ciryl Gane, he is a dog too, and it is definitely going to be a war. But Jon Jones, he thrives in wars, as shown against Gustafsson and Dominic Reyes. That's where Jones, he shines when the fight gets tough. It's you or him. But Jon Jones is smart even when he's being tough. He's one step ahead of you. He's outsmarting you. And Bones will definitely be the highest IQ guy that Gane will have ever gone up against. And I believe that Jon Jones, with early adversity, is going to be able to make mid-fight adjustments throughout the fight and turn the tide, similar to how Ngannou did, and just wear on Ciryl Gane in the late rounds. And I see Jon Bones Jones potentially grinding Gane out to a decision. I can maybe see a finish on the ground, but Jon Jones hasn't got a finish in years. Ciryl Gane is not going to be the easiest guy in the world to get out of there, so I'm going to say Jon Jones wins a hard-fought decision. If we see the best Jon Bones Jones turn up on March 4th, which I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt, then I got to favor Johnny Bones to win against Gane. However, I do not count out Gane. I could easily see him winning this fight against Jon Jones. I could easily see Jon not being the same, not being physically adjusted to heavyweight. This could be a horrible fight for him to come back to at heavyweight, but I believe in Jon Jones. I got that faith in Jon Jones, hence why I am picking Jon Jones to win this fight and to walk out as the new heavyweight champion of the world. He's prepared years for this heavyweight move, so I think Bones is going to be ready. He's going to be in form, And because of that, he will win. But that's it for my breakdown and prediction for UFC 285. Looking forward to all these fights, especially the 2 title fights. Seeing Grasso get her first title shot against the Bullet, and the return of John Bones Jones against Ciryl Gane. Gonna be a great fight. Let me know what you guys think of these predictions in the comment section down below. Hit that subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, leave a like, and yeah, peace out.